Are Target and Walmart getting early exclusives gonna run out the little guy? Hello and welcome to Modern Toy Fair. I am your host, Mr. Modern Toy Fair, and I am joined by the founder of the Neca Illuminati, the delayer of shipments, the procrastinator of pre-orders, the perfect person, my YouTube wife, Mrs. Modern Toy Fair, Jarmar_Games. But that's not all. I'm also joined by the man Modern Toy Fair has full custody over. The man, Optimus Prime, popped and he refuses to stop. The Twilight Knight, the master of Mac, the three-pump chump of taking the show off the rails, Nate. But that's still not all. We are joined by a very special guest this week. He is the future king of the e-retailers. He is the leader of the nerd world order. He is Nerdzoic, big nerdy, Matt. How's it going, everybody?
Hello.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I'm just trying to let you breathe for a second.
Yeah, I need a minute.
like having that extra.
Yeah, that extra boost at the end really takes it out of you. And then I got like real self-conscious there reading, like not reading, but going over that because I'm looking at you guys on my screen, realizing that it looks like I'm actually reading these and I'm not. I'm doing this all from up here.
Yeah.
So like then I try to like look at the camera so that way it's like I'm not reading this, but then I'm like it's just a whole.
Is that why you closed your eyes while you're doing it?
Yeah, I'm like I'm not reading this.
Remember, it's reading it in head.
That too.
Regular Enzo Amore.
Oh,
Very
God.
true.
All right, so this week we're discussing the fact that over the past couple years, Target and Walmart have gone from just having exclusives to seemingly having, on top of that, early or timed exclusives. So like with Walmart, it seems to be more timed with a lot of their exclusives, especially with things like with Hasbro. Because like for sure, I know that the Star Wars Black Series stuff, like the Clone Wars, Mace Windu, General Grievous, and ARC Trooper, all made their way to the fan channel shortly after they hit stores. No?
Nope. Sorry to ruin that one for you. Big Nerdy had him first.
You had them before Walmart did?
Way before Walmart
Really?
did.
That's
With
impressive.
Galen Urso and whatever the other guy, Antok Merrick, had them way before. Everybody canceled their orders with Target and came and found me. It literally put me on the map.
Shit, I had no idea about that. Because I know
So,
that like a lot of
Where were you?
local
I mean,
shops got them like after.
I was also going to ask, because like, weren't those advertised as exclusive? So how were you able to get them so early? If you can, I mean, as much as you don't want to
Assuming you
reveal
can't
any
shoot yourself in the foot on that.
I can tell you some things. I can tell you about a guy. I got a guy. His name is Vinny. He looks a lot like me, and he hangs out by the docks, and he finds things. And I say, Vinny, you go find that. And he goes, yo, boss, I got a pallet. And I say, bring it. And that's how we do it. That's as much as I reveal on my secrets. But I have essentially, for you Game of Thrones fans, I am like Varys. I got little birdies everywhere. I got people calling me saying things like, hey, Walmart rejected this and it happens to be for sale. I got liquidators calling me and saying, hey, this had a broken box on top and the whole pallet was rejected. I got all sorts of ears and eyes everywhere. It's how I find and do this crap. It's my like key advantage.
Now, also like Varys, you know, you're smooth on top. How about? Oh, well, maybe we just leave that alone. All right.
Doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt.
At least
But
he
just
didn't
on top.
go with the other things he's known for. Okay, so clearly, even from the beginning, it wasn't completely exclusive. Because I know local shops and stuff, they started popping up afterwards. Entertainment Earth, I think, even like distributed them after Walmart got them. And then even the Marvel Legends with the retro Spider-Man stuff. Recently, Craven started popping up with some of the fan channel retailers, such
weeks
as
ago.
yeah, and which I don't think it's popped up in stores at Walmart, but I know they shipped some of the pre-orders. I want to say Lizard and maybe the animated Spider-Man also did, but I can't remember.
They're a little bit harder to come by. I have a couple. I've had a couple here and there, a little stash, but not enough to put live on the store. When I only can get a case or two, they end up being mystery box spotter.
Okay, that's smart because that way it kind of spices it up a little bit.
Well, actually, it makes the mystery boxes a little bit more enticing as well. So
It does. Indeed.
that's good to know.
The biggest offender, though, I feel of late is Target and Neca. So with the Target SummerCon and the Fall Collectors Festival Friendship or whatever they're calling this shit nowadays, they seem to be getting a lot of these, especially with the Ninja Turtle stuff, early, when it was initially supposed to be exclusive to fan channel, like the local shops and the e-retailers, which is still a confusing thing for me. But the first time around, actually, we'll just do them all because I don't know what came out when. But for the Archie line, they got Jaguar, Dreadman, Man Ray, and then the Mirage, they got Fugitoid, I believe Casey, Utrums, Splinter, Mutant Shredder, and Zog, and maybe... I don't know if the Battle Damage Shredder is going to go everywhere. I know it's at both Target and Walmart, but I haven't seen any listings for pre-order anywhere else.
And Meyer.
And Meyer, yeah. So I
That
don't
was
know
one
if
of
that
the first
one...
NECA pieces they started getting.
So that one I don't know is making its round everywhere, if it's just with those three for some reason. But
So I'll give you my 2 cents. I love NECA, everything about them and their company and their people. They do almost nothing to anger me, including this. It doesn't bother me or hurt me in the least bit most of the time. I'll give you the exception in a second. Here's the thing. Action figures at retail are dying desperately. If you look and if you talk to someone behind the scenes at a place like Hasbro, and I'm sure someone will come up tomorrow and say, he just made this up, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Multiple sources. Fan channels up, everybody else is down. It's as simple as that. When it comes to sales, when it comes to purchase commitments from the big companies, all the fan channel stores, Big Bad, me, EE, all of the other ones, Toy Wiz, we're all doing just fine with action figures. It's the fact that the big box stores are not. And I want you to think about it from the standpoint of NECA being the little guy and just trying to survive in a world of Hasbro and Mattel. And they got to do something to entice these big box stores, especially Target. Like, if you've ever noticed, the NECA Target relationship is kind of odd. I don't know all of it. Like, I just know what I see and I know what I hear from the Target managers. Like, NECA comes in and puts their own stuff out and things like that. Like, as a former retail manager, like, it's like, wait, what? Free labor? Like, that is like totally going above and beyond to do that for them. Like, again, I'm a restaurant guy, so that would be like someone coming into my Panera Bread and being like, yeah, I'm going to set the bakery up for you. I couldn't get the baker to wash their pans, let alone set up the bakery display. Yeah, so I think this is just a case of Target trying to be able to move more product, which they need to. NECA needs to move product in order to keep their minimum numbers high enough that they can keep their prices where they are. They do a lot of things to help the little guy, like a lot of things, from the way they do their releases to the way they keep the timing of releases across the board fair. They're very, very good. Their margins are very, very good. Their customer service team, what's up, Jose, is very, very good. Even the QA that when I started carrying NECA, I heard all these horror stories. From a percentage standpoint, NECA's lower than almost anybody else. And the one time I had an issue, I've had 6 issues ever. 3 of them were from the same case of Brimsword, and they sent me a case to make up for it. So, like, I can't say enough nice things for them. The one thing I wish they would do is I don't go to Target. I own a toy store now. I have no reason to. I haven't stepped foot in a Target or a Walmart in a year and a half. If I do go, I do the store pickup because I become antisocial and I let them run it out to my car. So I don't know what the hell they have there. So what ends up happening a lot is I place my orders, like blanket orders, not knowing it went to Target first. So I assume that they're going to sell like a normal NECA figure would, and I place the order. So a great example is Splinter. When Splinter came out, I'm like, oh, he looks sweet. Did my little number gathering. I'm like, okay, my initial order is going to be 72. I'm going to get 12 cases. I got like 7 cases of Splinter stacked over here because I didn't realize that he was a Target first. Same goes for Man Ray, Dreadmon, all of those guys. Now, that's largely on me. I should probably read the email when NECA sends it to me and says, shipping now, and have the forethought to say, oh, that means it's probably a Target already. But I'm not a smart man sometimes. So I don't realize that. That's the only time it hurts. Like I had to discount Dreadmon and Man Ray to move them out because they weren't moving because everybody got them at Target, which is fine. They make enough product that, it all goes around. And frankly, I don't really look at Target or Walmart as a competitor anymore at all. Like,
Right.
they don't care. They don't care about collectors. They don't care about the kids. They don't give a crap about anything. So sooner or later, I imagine a lot of these places are probably not going to carry this stuff. When it comes to the real little guys, like the ones who this probably does hurt, it probably does really hurt comic shops. Because I don't know how the comic shops keep the lights on as it is. Like I don't know or understand that business model anymore.
Right.
Unless you're like wealthy enough to be able to not take a salary and run it all yourself, I don't understand it. So for them, I'm sure it hurts like hell. But for me, for the big bads, it's just par for the course with NECA. It's just, whatever. No big deal. I wish I knew that one. Oh, well. Like, I don't even blink about it.
Okay. Real quick
Well,
before
that's it.
any of us respond, you
And that's
were
the
getting
episode, everybody.
you were getting a little robotic there. I don't know if there's something going off your mic or. Well, now I can't hear you at all.
How's that?
There we go. All right.
My 2017 mic, despite being a very good mic, it's time to replace it. You can see in my background, my good mic's at the studio. I use 2 different mics now, so it's time for this one to take the old dirt nap.
That's fair. So yeah, essentially, I'm kind of surprised by that. Like, you mentioned that you got stuck with a lot of Splinter, Man Ray, and the other Mutanimals and stuff like that. So that doesn't surprise me. I'm just kind of more, I guess, surprised that it didn't hurt enough that it didn't seem to phase you. Is kind of what surprises me more than anything.
Well, think about it like a relationship. If you have a girlfriend who is like constantly like cheating on you, punching you, doesn't do anything nice for you, if she I don't know, leaves a floater in the toilet, you're going to be really pissed, okay? But if you have the world's perfect girlfriend, she makes dinner for you, she always thinks about you, she's loving, she is loyal, and she forgets to hit flush, you're just going to be like, she didn't flush. Same idea.
It's so funny because I feel like you have a night and day different relationship with NECA than all of us.
Yeah.
I know, like,
they don't even know me. Like, literally, my wife sent the corporate head guy an email one day just to thank them for how great of a partner they've been for us. And like, she's like calling them just to say hi to the customer service team at the warehouse. Like, they're buddies now. It's like, hey, what'd you guys do last weekend? How was Labor Day? Like, it's like I'm sitting in my office. I'm just like, it's too early for this. I can just hear her in the other room. But yeah, I mean, I think the world of them. Like, I've said it a million times. Them and the Four Horsemen are the best people to deal with.
That's awesome. But no, it's really great to hear that because, I mean, Michael's right. We have a different relationship in that aspect. I guess that would be like, I mean, we could do a whole nother episode about you and how your relationship has changed with toys and companies and all that good stuff. But we'll save that for a different show.
Yeah.
I guess like where I would be like kind of come from that is it sounds like you take advantage. You have found ways to take advantage of what may have affected others by stuff going to Target or Walmart early or picking up their slack in the exclusives. But it sounds like you've been able to turn that into a positive.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it just doesn't bother me. It just means order less. And that was like when I started the store, it was, I'm just going to carry Legends and Black Series and be a specialty store. And I quickly realized that was a kiss of death because if one thing starts to fail, like Star Wars puts out a bad sale or a bad show, your sales dip like crazy. So it's basically diversification in that sense. Like NECA is probably my biggest profit driver in the store. They're also, if you look at it on a figure to figure level, they're my highest seller in the store by both units and dollars, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. The problem is NECA puts out like, I don't know, 40 or 50 figures a year. Hasbro puts out overall 500 or 600. So Hasbro wins. Yeah. But Yeah, like it's a good relationship with them. And I look at it like, okay, you got to take your lumps and you can only control what you can control. I can't control that relationship. Neca does right by me most, like 99.9% of the time. So now other companies, different story. Like I have a lot of venom with some companies. Uh, you notice that you won't find a Mattel item anywhere on my store because Mattel purposely gouges everybody who's tiny. Basically, anybody who is not Target, Walmart, or a department store to sell their Barbies to, they don't want anything to do with you. I'm pretty sure that Ringside Collectibles had to give them like a sacrifice of 3 children just to get their good graces.
Yeah, no, I think you are correct.
I think the guy.
I think
in charge
one
of Ringside.
I think one of the kids was named Seth. It's weird.
I think one of the guys from Ringside actually became buddy with the designers.
Okay.
Because I noticed that back when I used to still enjoy like the Major Wrestling Figure podcast with Matt and Brian and all that. Whenever they'd hang out at Comic-Con, it was always them, Ringside, Sky, and then Steve and all of them. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, wait. You just crossed over a story there. You don't enjoy the Major Wrestling podcast anymore?
Well, I've told this story on the podcast before, actually. But I'll tell it again. Long story short, the summer of the beginning of the pandemic, before we actually started the channel, and kind of leading into the beginning of the channel, I found their YouTube channel, started like listening to their podcast, really enjoyed it, and was like, I hadn't collected wrestling figures in a while, and within like that summer, I had bought an entire setup of like a real scale ring, the audience background. Like I had kind of gone balls deep back into it, and then a member of that podcast in his Patreon exclusive Facebook group proved to be very toxic, to the point where he was encouraging his fan base to go cyberbully people who were upset with him for convincing the micro brawlers people over at Pro Wrestling Tees to try to make stuff more exclusive and collectible to make it more wanted. And that was kind of like, that's not not great. So
my story's not as good. My story's not nearly as good. I was more like, I still enjoy listening to it. I stopped listening to all toy podcasts when I went full time because I just can't hear that crap anymore during the day. All my life is toys enough. But for me, it was I was really disappointed. So the first Nerdy Awards, I had Smart Mark do the best toy gimmick of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And this is before he was on AEW. This is before he was anybody. And I just knew him as the guy who had lines on the podcast twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, cool, this is great. So at PowerCon, I'm just like, hey man, I had you on. He's like, oh yeah, I remember. Sure. How's that channel doing? And I'm like, and then nobody knew. Like, I was kind of expecting, I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting someone to say, I heard of you, but to just be like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude. I'm like, oh, I hate this. I don't like this at all. And it sounds crazy, but like growing up a wrestling fan, to have just one of them recognize a name would mean the world to me. Like, it could be Virgil, who used to come to my A&W root beer stand in the Chamonix Mall in 1999. Like, I would give that guy free hot dogs just because I'm like, yo, Virgil, come on back, man. I got a hot dog for you. Like, and he'd come back every time. Like, it's just me being a wrestling mark in the end. But, like, I was just like my big hope, like, I'm driving there 6 hours. I'm like, I hope, man, what if one of the Major Wrestling podcast guys saw me once? They saw a video. They heard of anything. Nothing. And I was disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I was disappointed. It's not a vain thing. I'm just like, man, that's like being, to me, that is the inside of insides.
I don't want to dwell on this too long, but I think it's a big thing where if you aren't of use to their podcast, then they aren't going to like, they'll
see, given the relationships and the channels I have with the dealers now, I have good use. Use me. I feel like a whore there. Use me, daddy.
Use me.
But like, no,
I mean,
like,
take advantage of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I'll tell you, like, alternatively, the guys on the other wrestling podcast, which is blanking me at the moment, the guys who are on the Toys That Made Us, they were nice to me the day, like they were like talking to me, like the week I started my channel. I was sending them tweets. I had like 5 subscribers and they were like engaging me and being really cool. Those guys I think a lot of.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I don't keep receipts, I promise, but I kind of did.
I don't know. It sounds like you have a little black notebook. That
None of this.
I have
None of
receipts.
this sounds like to me. This all is like, yeah, this makes 100% sense. Like, yep, I would do that too.
Yeah, I mean, I have
Yeah.
receipts because like I don't care who contacts me, and every time I say this, I get like 17 requests, and my next 3 weeks are going to be busy. But if you contact me and you think enough of me to say, hey, I'm doing this thing, can you come do it with me? I'm going to be on this podcast or this video or anything. Like, I feel like you are got to be a jerk to not say yes. And I'm like so honored by that somebody would even want my presence, that I'm like it's a blanket yes. Unless like there was one guy who I'm not going to say his name or anything, but like I did a little bit of research and there was some like, let's just say Chris Hansen stuff. And I'm like, yo,
Oh, no.
one thing I stay away from.
Oh
doing that.
no.
Yeah, like, you know, but yeah, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I have like that little, it's not a list. It's just like the people who it motivates me. Like Mattel, I had a little interaction with Mattel, motivated me. Interaction with Dorkside Toys. Look how that ended up for everybody.
I mean, I can
title.
I
New
can
title.
definitely relate, because especially when we went to PowerCon, like there were some people who were super friendly and like wanting to have conversations, and even were open to the idea of coming and chatting with us and stuff. And then some people were just like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." So like, I feel it.
I had one guy who like literally was just giving me I want to stay as far away from this dude as possible. And I'm like, all right, dude, whatever. But then like there was others, like I would say, I guess pretty much affirmatively, like the biggest name in our game, Shartimus Prime, he was one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. He was just such a gracious dude. He came out and hugged me and stuff. Like, same with D Amazing, another really, really awesome guy. Like, D saw me in pain. He's like, yo, man, take some ibuprofen from me as I was limping around. Like, they were just awesome, awesome human beings, you know? And then there's some that it's just like, yeah.
I have to back you up. I didn't talk to the Amazing, but I did talk to Shartimus. And if anybody has like the opportunity to be a jerk, it could be him. And he's not. He was absolutely like, I had a friend. He's like, oh, I can't believe you met Shartimus Prime. I bet he was a complete asshole. And I was like, no, he was so humble and gracious.
Yeah.
The fact that people wanted to talk to him and want to meet him, like, he was awesome. And it shocked me even a little bit, because I've been watching him for years. But you know, he definitely has earned that. I guess that's kind of a dumb thing to say, but like I said, if anybody could do it, he's been around one of the longest. He could, and he's absolutely not that way.
It's very interesting to see how it goes like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
They were definitely like, even we talked to Robo, we talked to Veebs.
Every time I tried to get near Robo, he had a crowd. He was the only
yeah.
person
We lurked, we waited.
We did, but he spent a lot of time with us, and I see why that happened, because he was really cool. I mean, honestly, he almost like, him and I had like this weird like stare off, because we like, it seemed like we knew each other already. Like,
yeah,
he
literally looked at us like, I recognize you, and we're like, I mean, I've been in your DMs, but I probably not, because I imagine you've never watched our show. But if you did, great.
Yeah.
That was one of my regrets. I was in so much pain on the last day. Like, that was my last person to get to, and he was the one YouTuber who was off in the weird side. Like, he wasn't with all the other YouTubers.
Yeah, he was like by himself.
Like,
yeah,
can't do it. I can't go to the other side of this building again. It's time to get on the road.
What were we talking about? We were talking about early exclusives, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So let me ask this with it. I have one additional question for Matt that has to go back to the topic. And I think I already know the answer, and that would be space. But is there anything that you specifically buy to like vault or kind of sit on for a while, even though they do take up space?
Yes. Anything that I think is going to be. So I learned this from a friend of mine who does that and then sells it for $100 a figure on Amazon. But what I do is I will literally take things that I think are going to be really hard to find in a year or two, save a couple cases, and same thing. There's literally a whole Metro rack at my office labeled mystery box fodder, and that's all
Wow.
it is.
Wow.
That's
it's
cool.
Wow.
Future mystery box stuff. Like I got a case of animated Spider-Man sitting there. I just unloaded it.
Wow.
A bunch of stuff. Like I got a bunch of just stuff that I find that I put there for that, because really that's kind of my the mystery boxes are one of the things that keep me going, because it allows me an outlet to get rid of things that I overbought without like having to lose a ton of money.
That's awesome.
That's actually like I kind of like that. Rather than just sell that for high price, you're managing to use it to get rid of stuff
Very
that's been sitting
enticing.
around.
Yeah.
You know, if you get a figure that like, okay, this is $100 eBay figure, to me I look at it as, yeah, but it's a $25 MSRP. So I'm going to take 3 other $25 MSRPs that are $5 eBay figures, bundle them all together and sell them for $90, and boom.
Yep. Person feels
And
like they've
it's
got their money's
absolutely
worth,
worth it.
and
Yeah.
you've managed to unload stuff without losing a
I've
bunch of money.
unloaded without having to lose money. It's a great feeling. Like I actually just did it last week with a Razor Crest.
I saw that. I'm still just stunned by that.
What?
Yeah.
How much was your
Got them in
mystery?
stock for 45 minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I see what you're saying.
Well, he gave
So,
one away
okay.
for the mystery box,
I
but he
gave one
also
away
had
in the
that.
mystery box, and then I had another. I think I had a dozen to give away, or not to give away, but to sell. And I put them up at 500. And I was like actually kind of concerned that I wasn't going to move them quick enough. And they're big boxes, man. They take up space.
Yeah.
And that was a poor concern. Definitely not a concern. Like I have one more here that I saved for one of my sales reps. Like you guys asked me how I find all this stuff. I know how to hook people up. My sales rep's like, how much for this? I'm like, same cost as the HasLab, dude. For you, same cost as the HasLab. I got you. So that's the game.
Vinny earns that Christmas bonus each year.
He sure does. And if he doesn't earn it, he just takes it.
So there you go.
I won't lie. A little behind the scenes, I may or may not have bought a tracksuit and Ken Cool hat to make Vinny come to life in videos.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I love it. That is absolutely fantastic. So, you said that it doesn't really affect you, but you did mention comic book shops, and that I feel like they are the kind of loser in this situation, because they already have a hard time moving this stuff, because usually they don't get as big of a cut because they're ordering a couple. They're not ordering multiple cases, and they have to even sometimes put them up a little higher than what the MSRP is. And if I can go to like next door to Target and get it for MSRP, or pay $3 to $5 more, most people are going to just go to Target, unless they're like,
what is
like
MSRP on a NECA figure these days? I don't even know, because Target
it bounces around. It's like between $34.99 and $37.99
like
for normal
37.
figures.
Yeah.
And if you get the gargoyles, it's like $40.
Okay.
Yeah, generally
literally
Ultimate
was
seems
like,
to be
I
like
gave up and I just said,
$38.99.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, I just gave up. I'm like, all right, whatever Big Bad is, I'm just going to make it $2 less than that, because I have no idea what this is supposed to be.
That's fair, because
Like,
that
I don't
is usually their markup is like $1 to $2. So
Yeah. So I guess I'm on it with that. Yeah, like it's all over with that. But yeah, I mean, in the comic book shops, like when I was walking around PowerCon, like I actually shot a video. It's probably 2 weeks from coming out, just because I'm on a bit of a hiatus at the moment. It was on like my advice for people who want to sell toys or get in the toy industry, and one of them was, do not do anything I did. Like I got extremely lucky, right place, right time, right knowledge for it to work. Because like walking around PowerCon, there were so many people who were like telling me, yeah, I need to sell these in order to pay the rent for the store this month. Or like, man, I hope I can break even for this show. Wow. And I'm just like, eeh. Like, and then I'm talking to them more, and they're telling me like, I hate that I have to buy these by the case, because I can't sell a whole case and things like that. And again, it's kind of, to me, it's like a little short-sighted. Like if you can't buy it by the best price unit, then you can't buy it. Yeah. Kind of goes into that. Like, I just started carrying some Super 7 stuff only because Super 7, you don't make any money on it, but Diamond Distribution, you can buy it by the unit. So I literally like wait till the pre-orders come in, Oh, I got 4 pre-orders. I'll take 5, and that's it. Because everybody knows with Super 7, it's going to clearance, so nobody
Right.
buys it unless they pre-order it. So, but yeah, it's a bad situation for them. But you know, if you haven't figured out how to make the comic book shop work for you by now,
Right.
it's just kind of going to be a survival of the fittest type of thing, and it sucks. It does. I watched it happen to people I care about in restaurants where like you didn't evolve to be able to contend with the modern environment. I haven't stepped foot in a comic book shop in years, man. Like when I was reading, so I stopped reading paper comics because they take up too much space. But when I was reading paper, I stopped.
I shouldn't
Yeah,
celebrate.
I see you.
I shouldn't
I
celebrate.
stopped getting paper comics. Like I stopped the pull box completely in 2010 because I discovered DCBS.com, which is a comic book shop. But what they do is you have to pre-order everything. They don't order anything extra. Your orders have to go in 60 days before they come out. And then you get them at either anywhere between a 25 to 50% off discount off cover price. And like to me, I'm sitting there, and now that I have an account with Diamond and I can see the comic book prices, that's the way you do it. These guys are moving so much product that they're getting a 50 to 60% discount off of Marvel and Image stuff that they can actually make money doing it this way. So if you're going to be in the comic shop business now, it ain't going to be selling toys unless you are buying collections. That's where the money is. Buying new toys, there's no money in it. I want to get into buying collections so freaking bad, but I don't have the capacity to do it right now. Because like for me, it's like, okay, to buy collections, you need a physical location. I don't have or want a physical location today. But what I could do is I could go out and drop money on collections. I could drop $5,000 or $6,000 on an amazing collection that's worth 12 or 13 if you piece it out, and then I could do like a 4-hour marathon live stream auction and sell all of it, and it's gone. So like there's ways to do it, but you got to think outside the box, or else it's not going to work. If you just keep doing what everybody else is doing, it ain't going to work. Like Dorkside chased everything Big Bad Toy Store did. If Big Bad Toy Store did something, they did it. Big Bad Toy Store said, hey, no pay up front pre-orders. Dorkside said, hey, no pay up front pre-orders, even though they knew it would kill them if they didn't quadruple their sales. And like, it's just the name of the game, man. You got to innovate or else you're going to fail.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's a really good point.
Most of those shops around here, like there's one that like I feel like survives off of graded comics and going to conventions because that's where they move a lot of their high ticket stuff. But the other ones just kind of are sitting stagnant, and I'm not sure how they're,
I don't
doing it.
I think some of them are like literally. There's one in a mall near me. I told my wife, I'm like, this is a drug front. Like we got to get to know these guys. I'm telling you, it's gotta be. There's never anybody in here. But I think a lot of them though. Like some of them are finding different services that they can offer.
Yeah.
Like I was at a comic convention last week, a pure comic, no toys, and like every other booth was advertising their cleaning and pressing services or their bulk grading services. They're finding other ways to add revenue. Those guys are going to survive and thrive.
Yeah, I was just thinking mostly like becoming like gaming places as well, not like video games,
man.
but like
board games,
board games and like Magic and stuff like that. It kind of be more of like a piece of the community, because that's the only thing to me that's kind of like sad to see like local comic shops go away, is just not having that place to kind of just go and be amongst other nerds outside of like cons and stuff like that. But
and it's sad though, because like I don't know about by me, I do have a really good comic shop that I haven't been in years, but I've noticed that a lot of these shops, like you walk in the door and they're just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like they don't even want to see you. So like it's not exactly a welcoming environment anyway. So, but I see what you're saying. Like that's actually something my wife and I have talked about a lot with getting a physical location. Is like we're like, okay, what if we could find something that's zoned both for retail and wholesale, so that we could do the warehouse on one side and then have just a ton of space to do things like gaming and meetups and special nights and stuff. Because frankly, I think it'd be great for wherever you are. Like I wish I had a store like that where it's like, the old day, like, the some people go to bars after work. I'd rather be able to go to a nerd hub.
Exactly. If you had a physical location, you did something like that. You could also do like exclusive like tickets for live, episodes of podcasts and stuff like that too.
So much you can do. Like we were talking about it the other day because there's a 7,000 square foot church down the street from me that's for sale, and I'm like, oh, this could be good.
The Church of Big Nerdy.
But, like, think about it though. Like it's nothing but open space, parking there. Like it is perfect if it wasn't the fact that it was also came with a cemetery that you can't do anything with. It just sits there. And I'm like, my wife's like, what the hell would you do with the cemetery? I'm like, I don't know. Halloween, we could put like hay rides through it or something. I don't know. But like, we've had so many different ideas. Like, cause I have, you can get wholesale product. What if we did like a Nerf arena in there? Cause we get all the Nerf stuff for wholesale. So you could set that up. Like you could do so many different things, but you just have to think outside the box. Now, for me personally, we're in a spot where I'm waiting till the economy, I'm waiting till the interest rates and the housing market cools down because I ideally don't want to rent because like the whole reason I started a business is because I didn't want a boss. So I don't really want a landlord either.
That's a good point. So
yeah, I'd rather buy a hunk of junk in the middle of nowhere that's just open space and work my way through it. But I haven't found it yet.
I kind of hope that you do get like the Church of Big Nerdy. I feel like that'd be very interesting to see. Hay rides in the cemetery, a Nerf arena in the big chapel.
In the chapel.
Righteous Gemstones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would be what's his face in there doing the whole Eastbound and Down. I baptized more people than you. Ask Daddy. He can tell you.
Oh, that's great.
Oh man! All right, so we've talked.
Let's go back to Target, and let's go back on Target, not to Target, and let's talk. I do want to talk to you a little bit about where it does annoy me.
Oh.
Okay.
And it doesn't annoy me from a retailer standpoint most of the time. So, Hasbro exclusives. It annoys me because when they give them crappy figures, it's funny. Right? Like when they're like, here's the 5th Obi-Wan figure for the show where he wears this outfit for 0.45 seconds of one frame. And then they have a million of them that I can then buy at liquidation a year later. That's kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. Credit collection, same idea. But when they give them really good things, like here's Captain Rex without a helmet and soft goods, then it's just like, ugh. And it doesn't hurt me as much as it kind of like, I feel like it's just bad for the collector because the amount of FOMO, like I actually have a saved template in my customer service platform for whenever somebody sends me a question about, can you get this exclusive? Because I get them 4 or 5 times a day. And it's always the same answer. It's right now, no, I don't ever get them on pre-order. I get them when I see them in stock. I buy them and a week later I put out an email. Make sure you have me on alerts or something. But yeah, like I don't ever know. I have no clue. But like with them, I feel like people get like this crazy FOMO, like I'll never get it because there has been instances in the past of that. Clone Wars, Anakin and Obi-Wan come to mind, right? But then there is the Mace Windu, General Grievous, and Tartakovsky clone. It's like everyone can get them now. That red clone trooper, that's my highest selling figure of all time. I've sold over 1,000 units of him.
Holy shit.
Yes. Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. Like, because I got it early enough that the FOMO kicked in. And everyone needed to buy 7. But then half the time, like, you never know. Is this going to be an exclusive that ends up everywhere? Or is it going to be one that ends up nowhere? And you never know. What I wish Hasbro did, because I know Hasbro sits up at night and watches the Modern Toy Fair channel. They're probably watching now. So, dear Daddy Hasbro, what you need to do is put a time frame on this stuff. Say, just like Neca says they're exclusive first to someplace, do the same thing. I'd be happy with that. Because then because there's so many people, it blows my mind who roll the dice. Like, they'll email me and just say, hey, let me know if you get the retro Storm Shadow in, because frankly, I just don't feel like dealing with Walmart. So if you get it, I get it. If you don't get it, whatever. Like, people are literally rolling the dice, and I'm like, dude, don't trust me that much. I don't know if this is going to happen. Like, put the order in, because mint on card collectors, you get stuff from Walmart, it's a disaster. God
Yep.
forbid they use a box.
Oh
What's your
god,
Nate?
yeah.
They like
Yeah,
God
Nate's
forbid
always
they
coming.
use a
Frisky.
padded mailer, even. Like, they just
Yeah,
fit it in a bag.
Yeah, we should be happy they didn't take 2 pieces of paper and staple the sides together, I guess.
Or just slap the address
Just the
label on the
label.
item.
Right, which
Yeah.
Amazon's been doing lately with some of
Amazon
the
does
Black
that,
Series
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun story on that. So I have a couple new employees, and I set up an inventory system, and I didn't train them well, and including the wife, and she messed up a shelf of Marvel Legends, and we oversold a bunch of stuff by one. And it's not expensive stuff. It's not hard to find. It was the Ant-Man wave largely, and whatever the other MCU wave recently was. So I had to go on like Amazon and Walmart to buy this stuff because I didn't want to buy a whole case. I'm like, I don't want another case of Ant-Man. I can't sell that many. So like I'd have to order Egghead like 4 times until I got a mint one. Finally, this one Amazon seller just stopped telling me to get returned. They're like, just keep it. Just take a refund and don't order anymore. I'm like, all right.
Well, maybe if you didn't put it in a bubble mailer, it wouldn't have to spell.
Yeah, it's really not that difficult.
One thing I do want to mention, though, you said that they need to be, more forward with it, like Neca. Neca's only forward with it to you, because as far as we're concerned, we have no idea what's timed and what's not until suddenly it starts popping up for pre-order everywhere else. Because
Yeah, so they're not really with us either. I just kind of thought they were based on the conversation we had.
Oh,
I
no.
got the impression you guys knew.
No, we only knew because they, it was assumed because the Mirage line was supposed to go to fan channel that, these should pop up elsewhere, because some of them had gone up for pre-order. Like, I want to say it was Man Ray had gone up for pre-order before it hit Target,
Okay.
but most of the other ones did not, including this most recent wave of the Mirage stuff that hit over the summer, to the point where that 4-pack of the Lawson Turtles, we still don't know if that's ever going to show up anywhere else or if that's a Target exclusive.
That one I'm 90% sure is a full-on Target exclusive. You can almost always tell by the price tag.
Mhm.
If the price tag seems outlandish, it's going to Target. 4 figures for 150, yeah, it's probably a Target pack. But again, it comes down to I do wish I knew, but I also it just comes down to really paying attention. Oh, this is available now. It's probably at Target. Oh, look at that. Target's advertising they're having a haul-a-thon. Who remembers their first haul-a-thon where they had nothing?
Mm-hmm.
That was embarrassing. And I'm sure it was probably Target's fault, and I'm sure Big Bad Target was like, oh yeah, this is all NECA's fault. Probably blame them.
Yeah.
So
Now they've got the fall one coming up here in a couple weeks for NECA, and I'm curious to see what's suddenly going to show up there that's up for pre-order everywhere else.
what are you expecting? Like, what do you got on your mind?
I have a feeling there's probably going to be some of the Last Ronin stuff, like maybe Raph and Karai.
So I don't think it'll be anything that's already up for pre-order. I think the Last Ronin stuff that we saw at
San Diego?
PowerCon.
Oh, PowerCon?
Yeah, they had a lot of other stuff there. I think that's the stuff we're going to see.
I mean, I'd be down for that. I'd love to get like Donnie and Leo right now. I have a feeling we'll probably get maybe like the human Baxter Stockman from the Mirage line. Maybe I can't imagine Leatherhead's ready yet, or Rat King. Like I feel like those were kind of big to be just suddenly like coming out this soon.
No, I don't think so. And I mean, they got a lot. Like I got hit with $25,000 of NECA charges last week.
Oh,
So
me too.
there's a lot of stuff coming.
That's at least what it felt like.
So I got hit for the Creature from the Black Lagoon, Feral Predator, Lexington, and I feel like something else, all shipped at the same time.
Damn. That sounds like NECA, though. They don't do like staggered releases anymore. Everything's just like, here's everything for this season.
Yeah, like the customer service was like, yo, do you want us to like charge you in increments or something? Like, nah, man, just do it. I'll get those points. It's a credit card. I'll be okay. So yeah, like I got 90 something Creature from the Black Lagoon sitting out here. He's not listed as in stock because we haven't finished the pre-orders yet. That'll get done probably by 10 a.m. tomorrow. So he'll be in stock tomorrow morning, kids. But yeah, like some of the stuff, they're in that season. It's funny because I know what's going to happen now. The one thing I do notice is once the haul-a-thon starts, NECA goes black. I won't have any new NECA releases for like the next 2 months. I won't like. I'll be like, okay, I don't have to worry about them charging me, so I can go spend my money on other things.
That's at least a plus.
Just kind of
It is
funny.
because there's a lot of Four Horsemen bills coming due. So
I just love that it's like e-retailer, consumer. It's the same.
Same thing.
Like we don't know.
Different multiples.
We're just gonna get charged. We'll find out what's happening.
That's why, like, it kind of killed my mojo when Dorkside died, because I had always been a pay up front for pre-order guy, just because you're not going to get screwed this way. You have time to balance and budget things. The only problem with that method is if you want to be first and you want to pre-order on day one, you might not have the budget that day. So I get that. Some companies that does not matter with. NECA's one of them. If you order on day 1 or day 45, you're probably going to be within hours of day 1 on shipping time, at least for me. But yeah, like I've always advocated do pay up front, but then, you know, Megalopolis and Dorkside took everybody's money, and that kind of ruined that.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Oh man. All right. Well, does anyone have any final thoughts then before we close things out?
We just
amazing.
We just know that Target and Walmart getting exclusives first doesn't screw you as long as you got Vinny in your corner.
Vinny's always there. All
Everybody
about
get a
balance.
Vinny.
Yep.
Every time I think I'm going to have a bad month, something good happens. Or every time I think it's going to be a bad week, something turns up. You know, and then like I've had a lot of good things. I don't know how far you guys are into other lines. I have Hiya G.I. Joe showing up here in the next day or two. Now, 95% of it is sold because it's exclusive to China, and I had to do some crazy things to get this stuff. Vinny had to go all the way over to China, and he had to stay there for a week to get this stuff, but it's finally here. What else do I got? I got some San Diego Comic-Con McFarlane stuff on its way. Like, Vinny does his stuff. Vinny does good work, but you never know when it's coming in, so that's why everybody needs to be subscribed to the email list. What I need to do is I need to start like a VIP program. I need to do like Amazon Prime for Nerdzoic. That's something for 2024.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah.
All right. So takeaways are NECA good, Hasbro bad, and fuck the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. On that note, Nate, I sent you some Patreon exclusive information. Make sure you only read the one, because that's one. We're doing 2 episodes tonight, and
right. Nope. I got you. All right, so this is particularly for the Big Nerdy episode. So, Matt, if you don't know, I dramatically read reactions to our episodes from our patrons.
Oh, I love it.
So, this comes from Stuk Matant. Did he add an A? Is that a new A?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't keep track of his A's. Which also, just Matt, you know this person, by the way.
Oh,
he is the person who apparently has talked us up to you before I even.
Oh yeah, I do know this person.
Yes,
I actually this person literally when I opened Discord for the first time in 6 months since the last time I was on your show, I have an invitation to his server, and I'm like, oh man, that's like a month old. That invitation, I feel bad.
Okay, all right. Hasbro doesn't care about small retailers. Probably 99% and more of their sales comes from Amazon, Walmart, Target, and even their own Hasbro Pulse. I'm surprised Hasbro even sells to small retailers. It's not like the small retailer expands the customer base. If they didn't exist, everyone would just buy from one of the big 3, which he listed 5 of. The only reason Entertainment Earth and BBTS stay in business is because the big 3 don't care about toys. Probably under 1% of their revenue is toys, which means they don't focus on it, and their distribution sucks. So we need the BBTSs and Nerdzoics to buy the toys Amazon didn't order enough of. If the big 3 improved toy distribution, then small retailers would go extinct. I love Matt and want him to succeed, but he succeeds only because the big 3 don't care about toys.
All Alrighty. I feel like that's
comment.
Yeah.
I will
That was
say,
dramatic.
part of it is why I started the store, because I knew they didn't care about toys, and I knew they never would care about toys. But also, one thing I've learned is it's changing. Brick and mortar's changing. I'm more concerned about Hasbro Pulse than I am about the big three.
I wondered about that.
That would make sense.
I feel like there's a huge conflict of interest, but at the same time, they are allowed to sell their product, but it seems weird.
It is
Because
very
there's
weird.
no middle person. I mean, technically Hasbro Pulse isn't Hasbro, but still.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's still a part of.
Legally,
And
it's
sell
separate.
it, and they sell it for the same price as most retailers do.
But they also usually ship it after most retailers get it anyway, so it doesn't.
It all just depends. There was the time, like especially during the pandemic, where I was using Pulse a lot. I was getting stuff really early, but then
I'll say this, and I'm afraid I'm going to get in trouble one day for saying this, but I'll say if it's not a video solely on it, if you are concerned for the future of toy lines, that's the last place to buy from.
Hence, I'm not re-upping my premium subscription, and I'm
Probably
ordering.
should just for HasLabs.
Well, when the next HasLab comes up, when I got the Ghost, I was still good, so I didn't
Okay,
have to re-up. But when they do the next one, I absolutely will. But like because of that, though, like tomorrow, when this goes up, I was like, oh, I need to get that Obi-Wan Darth Vader 2-pack, and I was like, oh, well, I'll just get it from Nerdzoic then. Well, and that's just not me blowing smoke. I was like, I need to start supporting that, and so this is the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, and you know what? It's hard for I feel like I think I see a lot of stores pop up that are like, here's $5 over MSRP. Why? I don't know why no one's buying from me. Like that's why I price all my stuff $0 to $1 over MSRP. The hard part is the shipping with Hasbro because the stuff like literally I'm looking at my shipping for tomorrow. Like I got multiple I have some customers who are completionists on multiple lines. So like I have a guy, I'm looking at his orders. He has one order from May 4th that came in today, another one from March 21st. So when we see it, we'll combine the orders and refund the shipping difference. But that's where Big Bad and that pile of loot, man, that thing is.
Yeah. It's hard to
gonna
beat.
happen for me. It's gonna happen.
But you need that church.
Need that church.
The Church of Big
Your
Nerdy.
light nerdy.
Alrighty. Well, on that note, let us know in the comments below what your thoughts and feelings are. If you think it's scummy that these companies are giving early access to the big retailers, if you don't care, if you think it's healthy, let us know in the comments below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure... Yes?
I got to add something because I just realized I forgot. I'm literally looking at my catalog. I said that NECA and Four Horsemen are the best to deal with. I have to add Valiverse in there. Bobby's been pretty great too.
Okay.
Now I'm done.
If you said Mezco, I was just gonna kick you out of the chat. But
No, me and them are having
I like
right
Bob.
now. I'll take off the air.
I like Bobby, so we're good there. But yes, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Helps us out and gets you toy related content in your feed. You can check us out Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Modern Toy Fair. If you are already a fan of the channel, you can head over to patreon.com/Modern Toy Fair. We've got a bunch of different content and reward options with different tiers. Check that out. We greatly appreciate it. You can check Jarmar out over at TikTok at Jarmar_games. You can check Big Nerdy out pretty much everywhere. Nerdzoic. You can go to nerdzoic.com and put all your pre-orders in on almost every action figure line you'd want, except for Mattel, which is fair. They don't really have anything except for like Masters worth buying anyway.
For me, yeah.
Matt, is there anything you personally would like to pimp that you've got coming up?
Negative. I get a lot of emails lately about some news that I broke a month ago that has mostly come true, but not all of it yet. I just say be patient, and I got in trouble. But yes, be patient.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago.
We sure did.
All right, Nate, what do you got for us this week?
You know, nothing this week.
Is this the death of the fake podcasts?
No.
Wait, what?
Well, I don't have any new ones from our patrons. So, but I didn't have anything fun or anything that like I could really turn into a good joke. So I'm just going to take the easy way out. But at the same time, it's not the easy way out because I don't want to give you crap. So I give you nothing. No.
Oh.
Like I don't want
You
to
give them. Okay.
I don't want to give like a shit joke. I'd rather give no joke
That's
than
fair.
a shit joke.
Or deprive
Some
them of
might
comment
think that
or
all
of
jokes
content,
are
then
shit,
give them shitty
but-
content.
Right. Exactly.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, on that note, hopefully see you next week. Same toy time, same toy fair channel.
And just then I thought of a good one. What are you going to do?
Thank you for watching.
Next week for his joke.